Rusty rocked his haunches from side to side, preparing to leap. He held his breath in case his bell rang again. Excitement coursed through him, making his heart pound. This was even better than his dreams. The sudden noise of cracking twigs and crunching leaves made him jump. His bell jingled treacherously, and the mouse darted away into the thickest tangle of the bramble bush. Rusty stood very still and looked around. He could see the white tip of a red bushy tail trailing through a clump of tall ferns up ahead. He could smell a strong, strange scent, definitely a meteor, but neither cat nor dog. Distracted, Rusty forgot about the mouse and watched the red tail curiously. He wanted a better look. All of Rusty's senses strained ahead as he prowled forward. Then he detected another noise. It came from behind, with the sound mute and distant. He swiveled his ears backward to hear it better. Paw steps? He wondered, but he kept his eyes fixed on the strange red fare up ahead and continued to creep onward. It was only when the faint rustling behind him became a loud and fast approaching leaf crackle that Rusty realized he was in danger. The creature hit him like an explosion. Rusty was thrown sideways into a clump of nettles. Twisting and yowling, he tried to throw off the attacker that had fastened itself on his back. It was gripping him with incredibly sharp claws. Rusty could feel spiked teeth pricking at his neck. He writhed and squirmed from rescued tail, but he couldn't free himself. For a second he felt helpless. Then he froze. Then he flapped as he flipped on his back. He now knew instinctively how dangerous it was to expose the soft bell, but it was his only chance. He was lucky. The ploy seemed to work. He heard a huff beneath him, and as the breath was knocked out of his attacker. Dashing fiercely, Rusty managed to wriggle free. Without looking back, he sprinted towards home. Behind him, a rush of paw steps told Rusty his attacker was giving chase. Even though the pain from his scratches stung beneath his fur, Rusty decided he would rather try and fight than let himself be jumped on again. He skidded to a stop, spun around, and faced his pursuer. It was another kitten, with a thick coat, shaggy gray fur, strong legs, and a broad face. In a heartbeat, Rusty smelled that it was a tom and sensed the pattern of the sturdy shoulders underneath the soft coat. Then the kitten crashed into Rusty at full pelt. Taken by surprise by Rusty's turnabout, it fell back into it, hit Dazed teeth. The impact knocked the breath out of Rusty, and he staggered. He quickly found his footing and arched his back, puffing out his orange fur, ready to spring onto the other kitten. But his attacker simply sat up and began licking a forepaw, all signs of aggression gone. Rusty felt strangely disappointed, but every part of him was tense, ready for battle. "Hi there, kitty pet," meowed the Great Tom Jr. "You put up quite a fight for a tame kitty." Rusty remained on tiptoe for a second, wondering whether to attack anyone. They remembered the strength he had felt in this kitten's paws when he had pinned him to the ground. He dropped onto his pads, loosened his muscles, and let his spine unbend. "And I'll fight you again if I have to," he growled. "I'm Grey Paw, by the way," the gray kitten went on, ignoring Rusty's threat. "I'm trained to be a ThunderClan warrior." Rusty remained silent. He didn't understand what this gray what's-it was meowing about, but he sensed the threat had passed. He hid his confusion by leaning down and licked his ruffled chest. "What's a kitty pet like you doing in the woods?" "Do you know it's dangerous?" asked Grey Paw. "If you're the most dangerous thing the wood has to offer, then I think I could handle it," Rusty bluffed. Grey Paw looked up at him for a moment, narrowing his big yellow eye. "Oh, I'm far from the most dangerous. If I were even half a warrior, I'd give an intruder like you some real wounds to think about." Rusty felt a thrill of fear at those ominous words. What did this cat mean by intruder? "Anyway," meowed Grey Paw, using his sharp teeth to tug a clump of grass from between his paws, "I didn't think it was worth hurting you. You're obviously not from one of the other clans." "Other clans?" Rusty meowed, confused. Grey Paw let out an impatient hiss. "You must have heard of the 4 warrior clans that hunt around here. I belong to ThunderClan. The other clans are always trying to steal prey from our territory, especially Shadow Clan. They're so fierce that they would have ripped you to shreds, no questions asked." Grey paused to spit angrily and continued. "They come to take prey that is rightfully ours. It is the job of the ThunderClan warriors to keep them out of our territory. When I finish my training, I'll be so dangerous, I'll have the other clans shaking in their flea-bitten skins. They won't dare to come near us then." Rusty narrowed his eyes. This must be one of the wildcats Smudge had warned him about. living rough in the woods, hunting and fighting each other for every last scrap of food. Yet Rusty didn't feel scared. In fact, it was hard not to admire this confident kid. "So you're not a warrior, Rat?" he asked. "Why? Did you think I was?" Gray Paw purred proud, and he shook his wide furry head. "I won't be a real warrior for ages. I have to go through the training first. Kids have to be 6 months old before they can even begin training. Tonight is my first night out as an apprentice." "Why don't you find yourself an owner with a nice cozy house instead? Your life would be much easier," Rusty meant. "There are plenty of house folks to take in a kid like you. All you have to do is sit where they can see you and look hungry for a couple days. And they give me pellets that look like rabbit drawings and soft slop." Great Paw enjoyed. "No way! I can't think of anything worse than being a kitty pet. There's nothing but 2-leg toys, eating stuff that doesn't look like food, making dirt in a box of gravel, sticking their noses outside only when the 2 legs are. That's no life. Out here it's wild and it's free. We come and go as we please." He finished his speech with a proud spit that meowed mischievously. "Until you've tasted fresh kill mouse, you haven't lived. Have you ever tasted mouse?" "No," Rusty admitted a little defense. "Not yet." "I guess you'll never understand," Gray Paw sighed. "You weren't born wild. It makes a big difference. You need to be born with a warrior blood in your veins, or the feel of the wind in your whiskers. Kittens born 2-leg nests could never feel the same way." Rusty remembered the way he felt in his dream. "That's not true!" he meowed indignantly. Gray Paw didn't reply. He suddenly stiffened, like one paw still raised. "I smell cats from my clan," he hissed. "You should go. They won't be pleased to find you hunting in our territory." Rusty looked around, wondering how Gray Paw knew any cat was approaching. He couldn't smell anything on the leaf-scent breeze, but his first dawn and the note of urgency in Gray Paw's voice. "Quick!" hissed Gray Paw again. "Run!" Rusty prepared to swing into the bushes, not knowing which way was safe to jump. It was too late. A voice mewed behind him, firm and menacing. "What's going on here?" Rusty turned to see a large gray she-cat strolling majestically out from the undergrowth. She was magnificent. White hair streaked her muzzle, and an ugly gray scar parted the fur across her shoulders. But her smooth gray coat shone like silver in the moonlight.